Yeah, I'm about to pull it. You live?
I'm live.
Okay. Let me pull it up on my phone. Give me a second.
I got my old school shirt on. I guess I can bake till nobody gets here, right?
Mhm. Why is it not giving me a notice? YouTube. I have the bell notification on, and it still didn't notify me. Look what I see. This picture didn't take. I don't know why.
There's one person in there. Is that you?
No, there's people in there, but it says waiting for Mr. Brando.
Waiting?
Look, it says waiting.
Hold on.
It doesn't show you. It just showed you doing that. Everybody's saying good evening. That's so weird.
I know they didn't change it. I see myself.
It says set to reminder. That's all you see. You see yourself in the video?
No.
Oh, that's so
I don't know what you're doing.
It says schedule.
This eye. Now the only thing I can't see
Okay,
is
there you
my
go.
chat.
Okay, now I got it.
Hey, what's up, Carlos?
I can see the chat. Move
Let
Daisy.
me mute this a little bit. 7 people in the Izzy. We gonna give it an extra couple minutes just because I'm a little late about coming on here, so sorry about that. To the 7 people in here now, I give you a salute. Thank you for coming. Thanks for being live. Thanks for showing up. We got 11. Oh, it needs to go this way a little bit.
It does?
Yeah, I can see a pole here.
Well, you see that
I see
pole.
this.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to see. You want to look at it in here, make sure you look at it?
I mean, it's not really.
I'm talking about the background.
Oh, yeah, picture.
Yes.
I am pretty. The beauty's there. It's not your beauty, it's your beauty.
No, it's not your booty, it's your beauty. Or it's
I don't know what you're
It's your booty.
What you're speaking of is I'm not listening to. Just joking. Hey, Carlos. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Shanta. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Sam.
So how does the picture look?
It looks good.
Okay.
Looks good. How y'all doing? I know a lot of people. Hey, what's up, Sean? Gang, gang all day. William Parks, what's going on? Tony, what's going on, Tony? 17 people in the house. We're going to go to 7:07. Give people a chance to get in here, get in the mix. And I'm going to give this news. Very excited about the news, too. I mean, a lot of people are, I say, oh, I don't watch on YouTube anybody, but I do read blogs. And so I was very interested to read what the blog said this week because it was something totally than what I was thinking. You know what I mean? Like with the news that came out, I know a lot of people were like fixated on the exchange rate right now, and they're like, well, this can't happen and that can't happen. But my whole thing is if you look at countries that are international, and you're kind of like, yo, what makes them, what are their traits? What are their tells? Like, how do they pay their bills? How do the people like living in their country? Like, how oppressed is a nation as opposed to another? How does that affect your credit rating? Mm-hmm. I got 26 people and 7 likes.
28.
28. I really appreciate y'all. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you are notified when we go live so you can be a part of the live chat. And hopefully you find this educational and you enjoy the video. You know what I mean? But please hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This video is also sponsored by the Noble Institution. The Noble Institution is the place. I'm telling you, I really believe in institutional wealth amongst people that are like-minded. If you are about making money, if you're about having a savings, if you're about driving a business, if you want to be in contact with a bunch of network of future millionaires and billionaires, then join the Noble Institution because there you will meet people that you can talk with, converse with, make alliances with, and really be around people that aren't like looking for you to do something for them because they're already in the group. It's really just a bunch of people that are on equal footing that can help each other And if you like that sort of camaraderie, then really that's something you should take advantage of. I got 1 minute and I'll stop vaping.
You'll stop vaping?
Yeah, well, not forever, but, hey, for this video.
Gotcha.
Let's go to YouTube. Let's pull it up. Where we at? Bam.
43 people.
43 people, and it's 7:06. That's great. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday post 4th of July weekend. I hope you were safe. I hope you were sound. I hope you were good. Yes, please hit that like button. It helps a whole bunch. You just do not know. Helps with the algorithm. Helps with the getting the message out there. I'm not going to say the only truthful news source for the dinar, but I will say one of the only ones that does the background information that we do. And I think for people that don't like to think about it in the sense of it's going to happen, going to happen, going to happen, I think you should look at it from the standpoint of why is it not happening right now, and what am I looking for it to happen right now? So with that, Moody's International Agency expected a sharp upward reversal in the Iraq financial sector during the current period. Now notice Moody didn't say they were looking for a sharp. Moody, Fitch, S&P are the ones that give out credit ratings that everybody looks to in the world for a country to get a credit rating or even a business rating out there. The reason why I'm reading this is because this is about Moody's. I'm going to give you some information about Fitch and some others, but I want you to see this. Investor Services confirmed Iraq's rating with a grade of CAA1. Not great. That is not where you want to be. I'm going to give you a description of how it all works, but CAA1 is not investment grade paper. So if you're looking at this from a person that's trying to buy a car, right? And let's say you're a person that has a job, pays their bills on time, and is looking for a reasonable vehicle in accordance with your salary and other, like home and blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you a car that's appropriate, right? You're not going to overstretch or overdo. You're going to do exactly what you should do to maintain the lifestyle you have. That would be like a better credit rating. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd probably be in the high 6s, high 7s, high 8s. You're responsible. What they're saying about Iraq and the CAA1 is they're not truly investment grade paper. Meaning that if I'm looking for something to invest in and I'm a foreign advisor, Iraq isn't at this point today where we're saying for our group, our rate. Now remember, we have Experian, we have, where are all the credit ratings? TransUnion, and Equifax. So we have 3 credit ratings, so do they. So don't take this to be the holy gospel of holy gospels. But the reason why I'm reading it to you is because it's important. They really believe that credit risk for non-payment, Iraq is stable. Now I'm going to read you some countries that are much bigger than them with much bigger GDPs and economic value, and they're going to be negative. So please don't think this is bad, okay? The agency said in a statement published in International and translated in Baghdad today, the confirmation of the rating reflects the credit challenges posed by Iraq's economic and financial dependence, which is heavily dependent on oil. The restrictions of the government's ability to respond to external and domestic shock, and the low competitiveness of Iraq's economy. The second largest producer in OPEC heavily relies on oil to cover 90% of its budget spending. A sharp upward reversal in financial sector. That is the metric for 2021. So even though they kind of give them a negative outlook right from the beginning, they say right there that there is going to be progress and diversification remains rampant and ongoing inside of a country that showed weakness, a weak business environment, and a weak investment climate for foreign investors. So now they're saying it's different. Now they're not saying that. Now they're saying, hey, look, they're poised to have diversification within the marketplace. On top of that, they're also poised to have better business environment, and the foreign investment side of Iraq should be better in the coming months. Now, they didn't say 2022, they said 2021. In stable view, the country Iraq government continues to discuss with the International Monetary Fund to obtain financial support. Yes, they do. But if you care to look up how many countries borrow from the IMF, including this country, you wouldn't be shocked by them borrowing from them. They're a bank that loans to countries. As an aspiration to be a bank, the IMF is one of those because they're getting paid from everybody and they barely have any competition. So don't look at them doing borrowing from the IMF or the World Bank as bad. If they're doing borrowing from other countries, now I'm worried. Because that means the other countries not just looking at their credit rating, but they're looking at Iraq as a whole and saying, now you're worth this to me at this interest rate. So don't get discouraged by arbitrary spending within the government process. It's all bureaucracy. It happens. Everything's bogged down by it. The government's plan to double the productivity and capacity of oil will support the economic growth and strengthen Iraq's financial and external situation. Remember, their external situation is they owe the IMF, they owe the World Bank, they owe Kuwait. So they're telling you now that with the oil on the rise, the government will be supported by the strength in that financial aspect, not just within but externally. However, Iraq's plans are constrained by an uncertain outlook for global oil demand. Now that's heart-wrenching. The reason why I would say it is, let's say you have oil, but you don't have a means to ship it. Then the other countries should have tankers. Let's say you have oil and somebody wants it at a cheaper price. You can sell it on the open market for what you want it for, as long as it's not an OPEC competing country. Let's just say you want oil to do whatever it is like Russia does. They can pay for it. The idea here is, guys, that foreign investors need to invade Iraq just like the Taliban did and start to take over the private sector regions of this. Not just invest in telecommunications, but invest in the oil markets, the oil and natural gas markets, invest inside the agricultural markets, because they're all on the uprise. They're not on the downrise. And that's why Moody's rating is stable. It's not perfect, it's stable. However, I'm going to get to that. However, Iraq's plans are considered constrained. Rising risk in political stability and a deeply fragmented political landscape will continue to impede progress on the institutional piece of Iraq and its economic reforms. Now, I'm telling you all this because that's bad news. That's not what you want to hear. You're like, oh my God, Mr. Brando done jumped off the deep end and he's went nuts. He's saying bad things. Remember, inside of any investment, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be up moments, there's going to be down moments. And you know what? You got to be able to withstand the weather. Now, the idea here is that they're telling you everything you need to know leading up to October. Because October, they're going to change government hands. And when they change government, you're going to have a younger, new Iraq represented hopefully for the people, by the people. Not recommendations by money, but recommended because of vote. And before that, guess what? That's what they're doing everything now for. That's why all these articles coincide with another. If you hear me talk about Iraq, I go back and say, well, if you remember this from this article, remember that from that article, they tell you the story. For investors, an accurate appreciation of sovereign default risk is critical. That is defined by the Moody's rates, the debt of over 120 sovereign nations. Now, to be included in this, you have to be a sovereign nation. Okay? For all those people that are wondering if they don't do sovereign nations, they do not. Thus providing investors with a frame of reference that facilitates broad comparability among sovereigns. Because they don't use non-sovereigns because it wouldn't be compatible. That's why you know this. And that's why I tell you guys, look, as long as you're on these international radar, then we're okay. As long as we're in international discussions as far as credit ratings, risk management, profit loss, expanding the oil regency, expanding the banking industry, expanding the stock industry, then you guys are in a perfect place. You can't ask for a better spot than now. with no pandemic and vaccines happening. And don't think I'm not talking about the vaccine news. I'm not talking about the vaccine news because that should already be in discussion. Without vaccination, you don't make the world go round and round. Sorry for all you non-vaxxers. I know you won't like it or whatever, but guess what? I'm all about vaccinations. I'm all about people getting vaccinated because that makes the earth move. The earth moves on a precious commodity that I'm heavily invested in the country in, and that's called Iraq. So anti-vaxxers beware, I'm not with you. In June, Moody retained that its AA stable outlook on sovereign rating nations, citing that Australia really had the best credit rating of anybody for the last year. It was AAAs and all ones. The other 8 countries currently holding an AAA or an AAA reading are this. That is the top of the top. Not an AA1, but an AAA, okay?
AAA, triple A?
Triple A. No ones. 1 is a downstroke from that.
Triple A credit rating.
2, I think they can go to a 3. I think. Well, I know 1 and 2 for sure. 3 might be questionable. It's Denmark, Germany, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Singapore, Sweden, and Switzerland. No others. So what exactly is Moody's scale? The rating scale is a running scale from a high AAA to a low C. It compromises between the 2 notches that equals 21 separable items. It is divided into 2 sectors: investment grade and speculative grade. So a lot of you out there that have been like, well, what is really the most transparent thing that we could look at besides certain other items that a speculative person would be how is their rating? And how are they rated amongst the 3 agencies just as a person is rated? Because that rating would really tell you the tendencies of Iraq from an economic standpoint. How do you pay your car note? How do you pay your house note? How do you pay your light bill? Right? There is a AAA, which is the smallest degree of risk. I already named those countries. Then there's an A1, A2, A3. That's very low risk. BAA1, BAA2, BAA3 is a moderate. BA1, BA2. They dropped the second A. Questionable credible risk. B1, B2, 3 is a high credit risk. CA1, CAA1, CAA2, CAA3, very high credit risk. So there is a CA in between there. It's a little less risky, but still. The United States is a AAA. However, guess what? They have a negative outlook on Moody's. Vietnam is a B1.
They have a negative outlook on Moody's?
Yep, they have a negative outlook on
America.
Moody's. That's right now.
America.
So, I'm trying to tell you, Iraq has a CAA1,
yeah.
but with a positive outlook towards this year and the next.
Mm-hmm.
These other countries, that should be a bomb. Boom. Boom. They have a negative rating, but they have a positive outlook. The United States has a negative outlook. Vietnam has a negative outlook. Mexico.
Vietnam?
What would you think Mexico would be?
Must be positive because you said.
Yeah. Mexico's a BAA1.
You know what?
Just 2 notches higher than Iraq.
I thought Vietnam, and I guess I'm just that Vietnam girl. I thought Vietnam would have a positive outlook.
Nope, negative. And guess what? Russia. For all the people that praise.
Positive outlook?
Stable.
They beating America.
America. Now, I'll say that to say this. Even though they got the CAA1, which is a high risk, guess what they got on Fitch? B minus, a B, and a B minus. So it wasn't that bad.
I should probably sit up here.
Yeah, you can sit over here with us. Y'all want Miss April Beebe to join us? She over here interested in these credit ratings and things.
That's my line of work.
All right. So the Council of Ministers decided to contract with one of the major international companies that specializes in the management and capacity of consulting the government from the Ministries of Planning and Finance. Boom. Once you talk about the credit rating, and then the very next thing you see is the country is now looking at international companies that specialize in management of not just the capacity of consulting, but they need it from 2 major things: planning and finance. It sounds like they're getting someone hired in to help clean their credit. Think about it.
I'm bothered by America having a negative outlook. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm stuck on that. We're right there with Vietnam. We both got negative outlooks.
yeah, but you have our credit rating. This came during the regular session of the council today, headed by Prime Minister Kazemi, according to a statement by the media office of the president. Now, the reason why I thought this was important because the Social Service Resolution of 2021 was approved during the session, which included contracting with one of the major international companies that specialize in management of capacity of consultants to governments from ministries, explicitly from planning and finance. So they actually sought out someone that was good with credit as a country and planning and finance. And I'm going to tell you why it's important because they're about to say something about the white paper. I didn't say that. The white paper, the whole economic reforms, the white paper. Yeah, they're about to talk about that too. But anyway, I know those people don't listen this far, so I can say anything. But on the truth, this is why you hire one of these companies. According to his studies and duties, they were established by law and by joint in the manner of guarantees that provide optimal advice of these two councils in the creation of economic and financial indicators. Indicators are what are used to drive an economy, if anybody wants to know. So if you've got a stable outlook and you've hired a consulting company to help you drive that outlook as well as reach your goals and increase your credit score, what does it sound like they're trying to do?
Get things in order.
Yeah, they're getting their house in order. The Ministry of Planning would contract with international companies and some local companies and consulting offices that specialize in project management and implementation and prepare feasibility studies to ensure the best consistency to speed the projects of the white papers and its implementation. That's another bomb. If I had bombs right now, I'd be boom, boom,
Bombs
boom.
over Baghdad.
Such as these companies that you might want to note that I looked up. One was called Boston Consulting Group, Charles River Associates, Cornerstone Research, Deloitte Consulting, FTI Consulting, McKinsey and Company. And McKinsey got a lot of play on Google. Nenra Economic Consulting, Analysis Group, and Bates White Economical Consulting. Now, I think that was prudent because on top of that, you saw the economy inside of Iraq jump a little bit because the stock exchange over the last month, which, has been phenomenal, 139 billion shares were traded with a value of 133 billion dinar. 10,934 transactions. We were a couple of those shares. 103 companies. Index rose up by 4.44, almost 0.5% across the board. And that's why I say you should join the Noble Institution, not to plug my own stuff, but because we buy stocks in Iraq, and that's what you want to be involved in. Because if you're already going to exchange currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do it once? Why not get dividends for the rest of your life, hopefully every quarter for the rest of your life, based upon a booming economy that does nothing but set records inside a country? The economic advisor for the Prime Minister said and confirmed the implementations of the white paper. It's so funny that how the news just trickles and trickles and trickles, and it says the same thing. With this good thing happening, you saw it affect this part of the economy. With this good thing happening, it affects this part of the economy. Now they're saying with those good things that are happening with side of the investment, the white paper will soon be announced, noting that they're essential in subcommittees to implement it, which if they already have essential and subcommittees, that means they've already been working on it. So you don't have to worry about them saying, well, when we get our stuff together, they've already got it together and they've already divided the committee. He added that there's an increase in population by 3% and our annual resources are limited. Now, when you hear that, you also hear in the same breath, but various ministries to identify projects for the official announcement of the actual implementation of the white papers and stressing. Very soon these applications and implementations will take place and will be announced. When you hear that they are actually implementing the white paper, then you can officially hear in your ear that they're actually trying to change their economy and make the Iraqi dinar grow. I'm just telling you. And it's all centered around October, around the new election. They said they've passed the stage of deficit. There's no need for loans. The deficit, which was estimated at 29 trillion dinars, which is basically 29 billion dinars, 29.2, so you take 29.2 billion dinars, but they base the oil amounts at $45 a barrel. the current fiscal year because of oil revenues has become worth more than what it was planned. The cash revenues for the budget of the next 6 months are already completed, and they continue in high form. What is allocated for borrowing will be only a theoretical sense, meaning that only the sense of as long as oil continues on the price that it's on, we'll only have to really consider it to be the fact that, well, think about it. We don't really have to implement anything because a financial surplus achieved in the year will carry to the end of the year. And those such cash revenues will carry us into 2022 and are considered as an opening balance for next year's budget. So they're already thinking about operating in the red next year, even though they're going to implement economic reforms. Mm-hmm. Because I just told you they're talking about doing the white paper. So if they're talking about implementing the economic reforms, they're already going to be in the red for black for next year. Sorry, black. They're already going to be in a positive stance. Then guess what?
What?
They're planning on some major economic moves from a credit rating of CAA1. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, all of a sudden now you're fiscally responsible? Come on now. Oil hit a record of 75.1. Anybody inside of the Noble Institution knows I've called 2 options on oil. I hit 1. I need to raise a little bit more. I think it will hit there to hit the second. If you're a part of the Noble Institute, I'm glad we made money on that first one. We're rising up to the next one. The price of oil calculated in the budget was in law, and they say in law, is $45 a barrel. But the price of the barrel of oil reached over $70 plus. So 5% of the difference between the allocated to the petrodollar fund project. Remember the project I told you about? I told you there was 2. There was a petrodollar fund that took 5%. The other 95% of the overage goes to another fund. That's why I say right now that you are totally able to pay Kuwait and to establish your currency to be international. Think about this.
Sean said oil is above 70.
That's all it needs to be for them to have a major surplus to fuel those 2 funds. That guess what? All they can do is use it for whatever they want. The petrodollar fund is dedicated to oil producing governors, and the remaining difference from the price specified in the budget in law to paying the fiscal deficit and external and internal debt for 2021-2022.
Boom.
Boom.
Daisy said, what the?
Okay. Any questions? I can keep going.
Sammy D says, makes me think that's where the that's where the project to deleting the zeros come in. Just my theory with the white papers. Daisy, hush. Heard that the white papers contain the dates and rates, or is that just a rumor?
That's a rumor.
Okay.
Why would you not put it anywhere but put it there? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be there.
Sean says, Sammy D, you're possibly right because they are above $43 per barrel of oil, which is the white paper.
Okay. Another common method of analyzing the government debt is the duration that it takes to pay back dues. Short-term debt is generically considered to be 1 year or less, which could be also, I'm saying what they said in the last article, to be payment 1 and payment 2, okay? Medium terms fall within 2 boundaries, meaning that either a year or up to 3, but they classify inside of the last article that they're saying they're going to have 1 speed of debt and 2 speeds of debt, which I would say is medium as well as short term, which is those 2 things. On Thursday, the need for the government to issue a decision to reduce the value of the dollar before holding early elections. Can I just hit bomb after bomb?
What happened to the bomb machine?
I have the bomb machine. You want
Do I need it?
Yeah, you need it. Man, everybody needs a bomb. I'm telling you, if you don't have a bomb wife, it's kind of hard to get along in life.
You got a bomb dog too.
Got a bomb.
She
dog.
barks at everything.
Yeah, she's the bomb.
Daisy, you're the bomb.com. Look at her. Look, I love him. Look at her. She look at you. Mr. Brando, tell me more. Okay.
So, just where it says explosions.
You know what? Mind your business.
It says here, pointing out that continuing at the price that it is right now will create a major crisis in the next year, especially since after the elections, the authority will be a different government. The information that economic blockade imposed by the current government will not be changed if elections are held and the dollar exchange rate remains as it is now. Next year, many witnesses a daily caretaker government which cannot manipulate the budget items or take in decision to change the dollar exchange voted by the parliament until after forming a new government. So why do they keep mentioning this new government? Like, in changing the rate and all these things, you can't do anything until the new government. The dollar exchange rate will not exceed the current value due to the expiration of mechanisms and mechanics of the banks for the presence of the new government. Therefore, an economic crisis and significant rise will not be witnessed in Iraq during the next year or year due to unstudied government measures. Now, I took that to mean that don't expect them to allow anything to rise any higher than it is because the new government simply won't do it because they're too young, they're too new. And with that, that's the show. If you be so kind, if you've made it to this point, to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, I would be greatly appreciative. Hope you guys have a kick-ass night, and I will see you next Thursday with the news. Join the crew.